Good morning. Welcome to Quantum's Liberty, day 30. Hope this day is finding you well. Hello, birdies. There's some water. Today on the phone, I have Sandy with me, who is a 14-year-old boy in Florida, whose mother I worked with, and she's an amazing, I just want you to know, she's an amazing nurse, and I think that what Sandy wanted to work on today was his mom has breast cancer. So we thought that we would do some tapping both on the impact of what that word does to us and tapping on some of the worry and the anxiety that produces, just the emotional reaction and the stress response that produces. And then also we do some tapping, as usual, on Louise Hay's discussion about the breast and cancer. So first, we're going to begin tapping on the karate chop point right here. That's right, Sandy. And what we're going to do, we know that when we tap on this point right here, that it blocks the signal down the neuron from getting sent to the amygdala, which stimulates the fight-flight response, which raises our cortisol and our adrenaline levels. We want to improve our immune system with the tapping, so we're going to focus on improving the immune system and a vision of radiant health. All right. So by tapping on this point and naming the trigger, what we're going to do, and that trigger is the word breast cancer for this family. And we're also going to name the negative thinking pattern that, according to Louise Hay here, keep tapping, nice deep breaths. It represents the mothering and the nurturing and nourishment. All right, so what Louise Hay says is that it's a refusal to nourish the self, putting everyone else first, over mothering, over protection, overbearing attitudes. And the affirmation to reorganize the brain signals going down the neurons is to say, I am important, I count. I now care for and nourish myself with love and with joy. I allow others the freedom to be who they are. We are all safe and we are all free. So today's tapping, we are going to name in the setup statement, even though, and Sandy said that he felt scared. So even though I feel scared of this word, of these words, breast cancer, or each individually, I deeply and completely love and accept myself. So what we're going to do when we're tapping, we're also going to spend a little bit of time tapping just on this point, and I'll explain why in a few minutes. But we are going for the immune boost here. Well, the heat wave is starting here in California, and so is the smoke arriving, so my voice might be a little bit scratchy intermittently, but here we go. We'll start with the 3 setup statements. Tapping on the karate chop point. Even though, repeat after me, even though I have fear when I hear or say the words breast cancer, I deeply and completely love, accept, forgive, trust, and honor myself. Great. Even though I'm afraid of this word cancer, or of this word breast cancer, I deeply and completely love, trust, and accept myself, wholly and completely, exactly as I am. Very good, Sandy. Even though I have fear of breast cancer and the people I love, and as a whole, I deeply and completely love, honor, trust, forgive, and accept myself exactly as I am. These words that stimulate fear, this fear that I have of this diagnosis, this fear that I have of these words, this fear that I have of saying breast cancer out loud, this fear that I have of thinking of breast cancer in my mind, this fear that this breast cancer will get worse, this fear of the words breast cancer, this fear of nourishing, this fear of nourishing myself, this fear of the intensity of breast cancer, this fear of following through with thinking about breast cancer. I am me with these thoughts. I am me without these thoughts. I am important. I count. I now love and care for myself with honor and joy. Allow others to be free. I allow myself to think any thoughts. I am free to think any thoughts. I am free to think thoughts about breast cancer. I am free to be with fear. I am free to be without fear. I am free to be with fear while I think these thoughts of breast cancer. I am free to be without fear while I think these thoughts about breast cancer. Actually, we're going to stay under the I point. You can do one hand or both hands or the other. And we're going to imagine ourselves and others in radiant health. You can close your eyes and envision that beautiful, radiant health and say out loud, I am that person. My loved ones are those people. My loved ones are in radiant health. Repeating after me. I am that radiant person. Now we're going to surround under the nose. Now we're going to surround ourselves and our loved ones in radiant health. Imagine that. We are that radiant health. Repeat after me. Chin, we are those radiant beings of health. Collarbone point. We walk with radiant health. Under the arm. We talk with radiant health. Top of the head. We think with radiant health. Inside the eye, we perceive with radiant health. Outside the eye, we are this radiant health. Now we're going to go to karate chop point. I'm going to tap there for a little bit. According to Richard Davidson, from psychophysiology, brain studies show it takes less than 1 second for the brain to register a word or a trigger, which would trigger any statement or a single word. It is registered in the brain in less than 1 second, and it triggers an emotional reaction. So with the tapping, what we're doing is we're taking that intellectual pathway that is saying, fear with breast cancer, and the amygdala firing is being reduced with this tapping on the karate chop point, so that then the chemicals aren't set out. So the biochemistry of the emotional response is lowered. And also, in addition to that, we lower our cortisol levels in 1 week of tapping for 10 minutes and meditation for 1 week. We can lower our cortisol levels by 37% and raise our immunoglobulin levels by 113% in 1 week. In particular, the IgAs of the immune system, which are in your respiratory tract, which is fabulous during the pandemic. Which does not mean that we don't wear masks and we don't take care of the 3 things that are very important to do during the pandemic. We do know 3 things about the virus, very simple. Don't give it, don't get it, and know it's airborne and dangerous. So we're going to wear a mask. We're going to socially distance greater than 6 feet apart. And we're going to wash hands well, because the virus is lipid soluble. So it does break down with significant hand washing with soap for 20 seconds, right? 2 songs of happy birthday. Yeah. So, so with the tapping on this point in particular, if you or your family are talking about breast cancer, you can put your hands behind your back, you can put it in your lap, but just tap, 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 and you will find that you might not have that flood of emotions that is overwhelming you right now. So we do know that by the time, according to Davidson, that by the time we recognize we're under stress, our access to remembered skills and rational thinking is greatly impaired. So the second you hear a word like that, that triggers you, you might want to start tapping on the karate chop point, and then you'll be able to think more coherently and realistically and more calmly. And I hope this really, really helps you, not only to just be calmer, but also to have a boost in the immune system, which is fabulous at all times of your life, except if your immune system is overactive. In that case, you don't want to do this. All right, so we'll finish up. We'll picture the radiant health. We'll go back to the side of the eye point. I choose to handle all my experiences with love and joy. I choose joy and ease in my life and in my thinking. I choose to nurture myself. I choose to tap. I choose health for myself and family. I envision this radiant health. I love life. I am radiant health. My family is radiant health. My friends are in radiant health. I see them in mind, body, and spirit. Deep breath in, deep breath out. And 3 more. I hope this helps you come to a beautiful place of a little bit of ease as you go through this time. Be safe and be well.